There is a strange psychology in the world of service. You pay for comfort, yet you feel guilty asking for it. You report a problem, yet you apologize for the inconvenience. You suffer in silence while someone else sleeps peacefully after ignoring your request. Psychologists call it conditioning, the quiet training that teaches you to minimize your needs so others do not feel burdened. They call it conflict avoidance, the instinct to protect someone's feelings even when they have neglected your well-being. They call it power imbalance, the fear of upsetting the person who controls your comfort. And sometimes, they call it moral reversal, when someone fails at their job and then makes you feel guilty for noticing. But here is the truth: I am not complaining. I am advocating. I am not difficult. I am responsible. This piece is for everyone who has ever felt bad for asking someone to do what they are paid to do. This is the psychology of the apology that never belonged to you. The air conditioner incident. My air conditioner failed on a day that was forecast to reach 90 degrees. By mid-morning it was already 86 degrees, and because my suite is a corner unit with 2 windows facing the east, the heat intensified quickly. At approximately 10:30 a.m., I went to the front desk to report the issue. The reception staff, who are consistently polite, submitted a maintenance request immediately. I asked if a fan or portable air conditioner could be provided until the technician arrived. The receptionist assured me that she would give the work order to maintenance right away and that he would be glad to provide one of those items. Based on her wording, I reasonably believed the technician would arrive soon. I returned to my suite, rearranged the space, and prepared for his arrival. I waited, and waited. By 4:30 p.m., the room had become sweltering. I went back to the front desk to follow up. The second shift receptionist was now on duty, which meant the first shift staff had already left. I asked whether the maintenance technician was still coming. She told me she had not seen him and was not sure if he was still on site. I asked again if a fan was available. She apologized and said none were available. I returned to my suite, took a cold shower to cool myself. I turned off all electronics and dimmed the lights to reduce every possible source of heat in the suite, because even small devices and lighting contribute to rising temperatures when the air conditioner is not functioning. I hoped the technician might arrive around 5 p.m. He did not. By 5:30 p.m., the heat was overwhelming. I knew that by 7 p.m., the room would feel like an oven. Before bed, I went to the reception office once more and asked if a fan was available. She apologized again and said there were none. I thanked her and returned to my suite. At that point, I wrote a formal complaint letter to the CEO of that hotel. An air conditioning failure in extreme heat is an emergency. It is important to understand that some maintenance issues can wait until morning. For example, a loose cabinet hinge, a slow-draining sink, a broken light fixture, or a loose towel bar. However, an air conditioning failure in 90-degree weather is a health and safety risk. Individuals can experience heat stroke, heat sensitivity reactions, and other medical complications. Below is the professional letter I submitted, with identifying information removed. To whom it may concern. I am writing to formally document a serious incident that occurred on July 21, 2026, at your hotel location. I am currently staying at this property on a temporary business assignment, with approximately 3 to 4 months remaining before I relocate for the next phase of my work. Although my stay is extended, it is strictly business-related and not long-term residency. At approximately 9 a.m., my air conditioner failed. When I approached the unit, I noticed there was no airflow, only a loud humming sound accompanied by a distinct burning odor. Out of concern for safety, I immediately turned the unit off, unplugged it, waited, and attempted to restart it. The same burning smell and humming occurred, and the fan did not turn at all. For safety reasons, I unplugged the unit again. Because my room phone has been non-functional for nearly a month, an issue I previously reported, I was unable to call the front desk. After showering and getting dressed, I went to the lobby around 10:30 a.m. to report the malfunction. The front desk team has always been kind and professional, and this day was no exception. Leanne, who has consistently been courteous and helpful, immediately assisted me. I informed her that my air conditioner had burned out and that my phone was still not working. She assured me she would submit a maintenance ticket right away and mentioned that the maintenance technician would receive it immediately. Based on her wording, I reasonably believed the technician was on site and would arrive that same day. Because of that expectation, I stopped all of my professional work, despite being an executive producer and songwriter with ongoing projects, and prepared my suite for the technician's arrival. Unfortunately, no one came. The temperature in my suite continued to rise throughout the day, reaching approximately 88 degrees. By 4:30 p.m., I returned to the front desk to ask whether the technician was still coming and whether a fan or portable air conditioner was available. The evening receptionist, who is also consistently kind, informed me that she had not seen the maintenance technician and did not believe he was on site. She also confirmed that no fans were available. By 5:30 p.m., the heat in my suite became physically overwhelming. Because my suite is a corner unit facing the east side of the building, with two windows that receive direct morning and early afternoon sun, the heat intensified significantly and contributed to the unsafe temperature levels I experienced. I have a medical condition that makes me sensitive to high temperatures, and I began experiencing facial flushing, nausea, and hives. I considered going to the emergency room. I also became extremely concerned about my temperature-sensitive collectible items, which must remain at stable room temperature to avoid damage. In addition to the health concerns, the burning smell from the air conditioner raised a reasonable safety concern. Without any follow-up communication from staff, such as confirming whether the maintenance technician received the ticket, whether the issue was logged, or whether someone would check on the burning odor before leaving their shift, I was left unsure whether the malfunction posed a fire risk. Even a brief update such as, "The technician received your request and will address it first thing in the morning," would have provided clarity and reduced the liability concerns associated with an electrical or mechanical failure producing a burning smell. I attempted to cool myself by taking a cold shower, but the suite remained dangerously hot. Even at 2 a.m., I was unable to sleep due to the heat and physical symptoms. I contacted the Extended Stay America 800 number to file a complaint and request reimbursement for the day I endured without any functioning air conditioning, without a fan, and without any maintenance response. I am submitting this written account to ensure the details are formally recorded. I respectfully request reimbursement for the day of July 21, 2026, and ask that this matter be addressed promptly. I also ask that the ongoing issue with my non-functional room phone be resolved. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I appreciate the professionalism of the staff at this location and hope leadership will take the necessary steps to make this right. The resolution. The next morning, at approximately 9 a.m., I received a knock at my door. A receptionist informed me that the maintenance technician was on his way and would replace the air conditioner within minutes. He arrived shortly afterward, removed the old unit, installed a new one, and completed the entire process in less than 10 minutes. My suite was cool immediately. While he was present, the property manager knocked on my door and asked to speak with me privately in the hallway. She said, "I want to apologize for what happened. I received a message from the CEO. They read your letter and asked, why was this not taken care of yesterday?" I agreed with her. It should have been handled the previous day. She added, with a subtle hint of frustration, that the maintenance technician should have addressed the issue immediately. She asked how the situation could be made right. I told her that I only wanted to be compensated for the day without air conditioning. I explained that my letter was not written to complain about her or the staff. I had been kind and professional, and I had even included compliments. She said, "Done. We will take care of it." She also said she had tried to call me but could not get through. I explained that my room phone had been non-functional for 30 days and that the work order had been ignored. She said it would be resolved immediately. Within minutes, a staff member arrived with a brand new phone. The point is simple: this was not complaining. This was advocating. They tell you not to be difficult. They tell you not to make waves. They tell you to be patient, polite, understanding, even when you're sweating through the night because the air conditioner died hours ago. And you sit there, swallowing discomfort, convincing yourself it's not that bad, convincing yourself they're probably busy, convincing yourself you don't want to be that person. But here's the psychology nobody talks about: you were trained to protect other people's comfort at the expense of your own. So you whisper your needs. You soften your voice. You apologize for the inconvenience of someone else's negligence. Until the moment someone with authority says the truth out loud. "Why wasn't this taken care of yesterday?" That sentence hit different. Because suddenly, the world aligned with what your body already knew: this wasn't a complaint. This was a health risk. This was a responsibility. This was their job. And when management came to my door, not with attitude, not with excuses, but with urgency. When she said, "This should have been handled yesterday. What can we do to make this right?" something inside me unlocked. The guilt cracked. The hesitation loosened. The apology I was holding in my throat finally dissolved. Because in that moment, I was not the complainer. I was the one who noticed. I was the one who advocated. I was the one who refused to suffer quietly. And the world finally responded the way it should have all along. A new phone in my hand. A working air conditioner. A reimbursement without resistance. Proof that my voice was not a disruption, it was a correction. Proof that my needs were not excessive, they were overdue. Proof that my advocacy was not trouble, it was truth. And here's the part people forget. There are workers out there who do care. Workers who have been on the other side of the counter. Workers who know what discomfort feels like. If I were the housekeeper, and I walked into a room so hot the air felt heavy, I wouldn't shrug and walk away. I'd ask, "Did you put in a work order?" And if you said yes, but no one responded, I'd follow up before I clocked out. I'd check the system. I'd check with maintenance. I'd knock on your door before leaving the building just to make sure someone had helped you. And if they hadn't, I'd go find a fan. I'd go find a manager. I'd go find a solution. Not because it's required, but because it's human. That's the difference. Some people do the job. Some people honor the responsibility. And you have every right to expect the latter. I'm not complaining. I'm advocating. And I won't apologize for expecting people to do the job they're paid to do.
Story number 2. The gate agent's tone. Airport terminal. Gate C-17. A man approaches the counter with the calmness of someone who has already rehearsed his explanation. "Hello, I'm on flight 482. My seat assignment disappeared from the app, and I wanted to confirm I'm still on the manifest." The gate agent doesn't look up. She types with the speed of impatience, the kind that says she has already decided he is an inconvenience. "Yes, I see your name," she says, but her tone carries the familiar edge, the one travelers recognize instantly. The tone that says, "You're bothering me." He continues politely, "I also received a notification that my flight may be delayed. Can you confirm the status?" She exhales sharply, that micro-sigh people pretend is silent but is loud enough to sting. "Sir, if there's a delay, you'll see it on the screen. We can't update every passenger individually." He nods, not because he agrees, but because he's trying not to absorb the attitude that was never his to carry. He steps aside, checks the app again. Still no seat assignment. Still no clarity. 30 minutes pass. The screen updates. Delayed. No announcement. No explanation. No communication. He returns to the counter. Hi, I'm just checking again. My seat still isn't showing, and I want to make sure I'm not removed from the flight. She looks at him with the expression traveler's dread, the one that says, "You're asking too many questions." "Sir, I told you already. If there's an issue, we'll let you know. Please step aside. We have other passengers." He steps back, feeling the familiar guilt that comes from advocating in a space where advocacy is treated like disruption. But he documents everything: the time, the tone, the dismissiveness, the lack of communication. He sends a formal email to customer relations with the details. Not emotional, not dramatic, just factual, professional, clear. Hours later, he receives a response from the airline's executive resolution team. "Thank you for bringing this to our attention. We sincerely apologize for the way you were addressed at the gate. This behavior does not reflect our standards. Your seat has been confirmed, and a travel credit has been issued for the inconvenience." Before the day ends, a second email arrives, a formal apology from customer service leadership. No phone call, no theatrics, just accountability in writing. He reads it calmly. His seat is confirmed. His compensation is issued. His dignity is intact. And once again, the problem was solved, not because he complained, but because he advocated. "I'm not complaining, I'm advocating, and I will not apologize for expecting people to do the job they are expected to do." Story number 3. The ceiling that wouldn't stop growing. Apartment complex. A slow leak in the ceiling. At first just a dark ring, the kind you notice in passing and hope will dry on its own. But overnight, the ring expands. The paint bubbles. The plaster softens. The ceiling begins to sag like a heavy breath the building can no longer hold. He calls the office. "Hi, I submitted a maintenance request yesterday. My ceiling is leaking, and it's getting worse." The receptionist responds with the tone people recognize instantly, the tone that says, "You're interrupting my morning." "Yes, we received your request. Maintenance is very busy. You'll have to be patient." He pauses. "I understand, but this is spreading. Can I speak to the supervisor?" There's a beat, the kind of silence that feels like a raised eyebrow. Then a young voice comes on the line, 25, maybe 27, confident but not seasoned. "This is the supervisor." Awkward pause. The kind where the tenant realizes the person responsible for the building sounds younger than the problem itself. He gathers himself. "Okay, thank you. I just need someone to come today. This is a safety issue." The supervisor sighs. That micro burst of impatience people pretend is inaudible but is loud enough to sting. "Sir, we have other units to attend to. You submitted the request yesterday. Someone will get to it when they can." He hangs up, looks at the ceiling. The stain is now the size of a dinner plate. By evening, it's the size of a serving tray. The next morning, he wakes to a soft thud. A towel he placed on the floor has fallen from the ceiling. The plaster above it finally gave way. Water drips faster now. It splashes onto his electronics. He rushes to unplug everything. A surge protector pops. A sharp, electric warning that the situation is no longer inconvenient, but dangerous. At this point, he's done being patient. He contacts Housing Code Enforcement, the department responsible for habitability and structural safety. They ask questions. Detailed. Precise. What got damaged? How long has this been happening? How many times did you call? Did anyone come to inspect? He answers each one. No one came. No follow-up. No resolution. "Thank you for reporting this," they say. "We will investigate immediately." Hours later, he receives a formal email. "We apologize for what has occurred. A team from our sister property will arrive today to assess the issue and temporarily manage the building until repairs are completed." That afternoon, they arrive. Professionally dressed, clipboards in hand, eyes trained on the ceiling like surgeons assessing a patient. "Oh my goodness," one of them says. This ceiling is inches away from caving in. They act fast. Support beams, industrial fans, emergency patching, electrical safety checks. The tenant is reimbursed for the damaged electronics. The ceiling is repaired. The danger is removed. The building is stabilized. And as he stands there, watching professionals do what should have been done days ago, he finally says the words that define the entire piece. I'm not complaining. I'm advocating. And I will not apologize for expecting people to do the job they are expected to do.
Story number 4. The call that always went back to Rebecca. Medical office. Routine appointment. Nothing dramatic, just a patient trying to schedule care in a system that treats scheduling like an inconvenience. John Doe calls the front desk. Hi, I need to schedule a follow-up appointment. The receptionist answers with the tone people recognize instantly, the tone that says, "You're already bothering me." "What do you need?" she snaps, as if clarity is a burden. He explains calmly. She interrupts twice. Her impatience is sharp enough to cut through the phone line. He hangs up feeling dismissed, but tries again the next day. This time he asks, "Can I speak to someone else?" "I'd prefer not to speak with Rebecca." The staff member pauses, a pause heavy enough to reveal something unspoken. "One moment," she says. He hears clicking, shuffling, a transfer. Then the same voice returns, "Rebecca." Sharp, curt, unapologetic. "What do you need now?" He ends the call. Not angry, just stunned at how reporting a problem turned him into the problem. 2 days later, he tries again. Hoping for a different staff member. Hoping for a different tone. A new voice answers, gentle, unfamiliar, probably new to the office. "Hello, who am I speaking with?" "This is John Doe." Silence. Not confusion, recognition. The kind of pause that feels like a file being opened. She clears her throat. "Well, Rebecca isn't here right now." He exhales in relief. "Good. I'd prefer not to speak with her. She's been rude to me." The new girl hesitates, then says the sentence that changes everything. "I'm sorry, but I was told that if you call again, I'm supposed to route all calls to her." He freezes. Not because he's surprised, but because the truth finally has a witness. Every call, every attempt, every request, all intentionally routed to the same hostile person. And in his state, recording calls is legal. He has the evidence, the tone, the dismissals, the interruptions, the directive to funnel him into a dead end. He sends everything to patient advocacy and the medical legal compliance department, professional, factual, calm. Not dramatic, not emotional, just truth. Within hours, he receives a response, "Thank you for bringing this to our attention. This behavior violates protocol. We will investigate immediately." By afternoon, a second email arrives, formal, direct, corrective. "We apologize for the way you were treated. Your calls should never have been routed to a single staff member. This issue has been addressed, and you will receive a follow-up." And he does. A written apology from the very person who dismissed him. Her tone is different now, measured, careful, aware. "I want to apologize for the way I spoke to you. It was not appropriate. Your concerns will be handled properly from this point forward." He reads the email calmly. His appointment is scheduled. His dignity is restored. And once again, the problem was solved, not because he complained, but because he advocated. "I'm not complaining. I'm advocating. And I will not apologize for expecting people to do the job they are expected to do."
Story number 5. The table everyone saw except the server. He moved into a 55-plus community not for services, not for assistance, but for connection, for bingo nights, for conversation, for the simple comfort of not eating alone. The residents welcomed him, warm, kind, inclusive, not a single issue. Not a single raised eyebrow. Not a single moment of discomfort. The problem wasn't the community. It was the cafeteria. a husband and wife server team, a head cook married to the facility manager, a web of relationships woven so tightly that accountability had no place to land. At first, the server smiled. Mask on, professional tone, the new guest politeness everyone recognizes. But 2 weeks in, the mask slipped. She began walking past his table as if he were invisible. 10 minutes, 15, 20. People who walked in after him were served, fed, and gone before she even acknowledged he existed. One day, he waited nearly a whole hour to be waited on. Friends at the table noticed, whispered, watched her skip him again and again as if he were a ghost in a room full of witnesses. He documented everything, quietly, professionally, recorded the pattern because patterns don't lie even when people do. He brought it to management, but management was married to the head cook. Conflict of interest wrapped in a wedding ring. She dismissed it, defended her staff, said the server denied everything, said he must be mistaken, said she saw no issue. And suddenly, he felt blacklisted. The husband and wife server team stopped serving him entirely. A new server appeared, assigned only to him. If he sat with friends, the new server took only his order while the husband and wife team served everyone else at the table but not him. His friends noticed, every single one of them. The silence at the table was louder than the discrimination itself. He complained again dismissed, again minimized, again told it was nothing. So he went over her head. Way over her head. Professional letters, documentation, evidence, dates, times, recordings, witnesses. The board ignored it, dismissed it, pretended it wasn't happening. So he went over their heads too, to the department that handles discrimination in public accommodations. The department that enforces equal treatment. The department that knows what conflict of interest looks like when it's dressed as customer service. He reported everything, and this time, someone listened. They investigated. They reviewed the recordings. They examined the structure, the married manager, the married servers, the closed loop of protection that left him unprotected. And they apologized, formally, in writing. They said, "You should never have been treated this way." They said, "There was a conflict of interest." They said, "The staff defended each other and victim blamed you." They said, "This violates policy and law." They said, "This will be corrected immediately." The servers were reprimanded. The manager was corrected. Protocols were rewritten. Accountability was enforced. But the damage was done. The cafeteria felt different now. Awkward, uncomfortable, tainted by the memory of being ignored in a room full of people who saw everything. The cafeteria felt different now. Awkward, uncomfortable, tainted by the memory of being ignored in a room full of people who saw everything. The forced niceness from the servers who once refused to serve him now felt hollow, a performance instead of sincerity. He left, not because he was dramatic, not because he was sensitive, but because dignity is not something you negotiate. I'm not complaining, I'm advocating, and I will not apologize for expecting people to do the job they are expected to do.
Story number 6. The night something woke her up. A high-rise hotel with glass walls and a lobby that looked like a postcard. Security at every door, marble floors, escalators that hummed like wealth. A place where nothing should go wrong because everything looked perfect. She checked into a room owned by one of the private investors, one of those units people buy and rent out like a hotel suite. The bedding was crisp, white, pristine, the kind of bed you fall into after a long day of travel and trust without question. She fell asleep instantly, but something woke her. Not a sound she recognized, just a shift in the air, a whisper of movement, the kind of instinct your body notices before your mind understands. She opened her eyes. Something black darted across the sheet. Fast, flat, wrong. She jumped up, heart pounding. She quickly grabbed her phone to get video evidence. The camera caught it, the tiny body, the frantic crawl, the unmistakable shape she had only ever seen on TV. A bed bug. She trapped it in a jar. Not to kill it, but to prove it. Because evidence is the only language some people respect. She sent the video to the landlord. The landlord replied, "You brought them. No investigation, no apology, no exterminator, just blame." The next night, it got worse. Something woke her again. She turned on the light and saw 3 of them running across the mattress like they owned the place. She recorded everything, scooped them into the jar, sent the proof. The landlord said the same thing, "You brought them." She stopped sleeping in the bed. She slept on the table. She bagged the bedding in thick black plastic like a crime scene. She sealed her belongings to protect them from an infestation she didn't cause. But the bugs spread anyway. Into the couch, into the dresser, into the corners of the room where fear hides. And then came the moment that broke something inside her. Her doctor had prescribed trauma regulation therapy for complex traumatic stress disorder, a medical device in the form of a doll, a grounding tool, a stabilizer, a lifeline. She woke up one night and saw a bed bug crawling across her therapy baby doll's hair. That was the moment she knew it would not be safe to touch her again. Not because she didn't want to, but because she knew the doll's hair, her clothing, the fabric were likely full of eggs. She bagged her up, sealed her away, lost her forever. And with her gone, she lost the only grounding tool she had left. She began waking up with bites all over her body, and the irritation quickly escalated into a severe allergic reaction. The Department of Veterans Affairs evaluated her condition and prescribed antibiotics and topical medications to manage the inflammation. The immune stress from the reaction triggered something entirely new for her. Raynaud syndrome, a serious complication that emerged for the first time as a direct result of the medical crisis she was facing. She slept on the table. No blankets, no towels, no comfort, no more therapy baby doll, for emotional regulation. Just fear and the phone in her hand as she called the crisis line because she had nothing else to keep her steady. She cried. She said, "This place is infested with bed bugs, and the landlord will not do anything." The voice on the other end said, "You know, you can sue him." She did not know this. But she learned. She gathered every video, every jar, every timestamp, every message, every denial, every moment of proof that the infestation was real and the negligence was worse. She contacted an attorney. They took the case. They took the keys. They took the landlord to court. And she won. A settlement so large it felt like justice finally had a number, including emotional distress, the loss of clothing, and the destruction of a medically prescribed trauma regulation device. She walked away not triumphant, not vengeful, but relieved, because she did not complain. She advocated. "I'm not complaining. I'm advocating. And I will not apologize for expecting people to do the job they are expected to do."
Story number 7. The pizza with onions I did not order. Have you ever ordered a pizza and you said no onions? And you get your pizza, take a bite, and suddenly that familiar taste hits you, the one you can't ignore, and immediately you feel disappointed because you have allergies to onions? Onions and garlic are alliums, and alliums can give you rashes, so you cannot eat that pizza. And you say to yourself, "I don't want to complain. They went out of their way to deliver the pizza. I don't want to inconvenience them. They'll have to come out here, pick it up, take it back, make another one, and I'll probably slow them down." So you think, "I'll just pick off the onions." But then you stop. You think again, "Wait a minute, I just gave them a tip. I paid good money for this pizza. The receipt clearly says no onions. I have the order right here. No, I am going to complain. I'm not going to be passive. I cannot eat this properly. And picking it off won't help. My hands will still touch it, and I'll get an allergic reaction." So you call, politely, professionally, and say, "I did not order onions." The manager answers. A very young guy, maybe 24, maybe 25. You assume he will not take you seriously. But he does. He says, "I am so sorry. Yes, I can clearly see it says no onions. I want to apologize for that. We have some new guys working today, so we'll certainly make this right. You keep the pizzas. We will bring out new pizzas." And they do. They bring new pizzas with no onions. And he says, "For your inconvenience, your next pizza order, we will offer you a free pizza. We want to make this right. We want to keep your business." I said that to say this. Don't ever feel that making a complaint means you're inconveniencing someone who gets paid to do this. They are not doing this out of the kindness of their heart. They are not delivering your pizza as volunteer work. They are getting paid good money to give you the service you are paying for. So by all means, don't ever see it as complaining if they got your order wrong. Make a point to let them know they did not give you what you paid for. You paid for a pizza with no onions. Or maybe you ordered a veggie pizza. Or maybe you ordered a salad. And if they did not bring you a salad but instead brought you cookies, that is not what you ordered. Do not ever feel, "Oh, I don't want to bother them." No, bother them. You are helping enforce what they should have done. And this is the conclusion of this entire spoken word piece. I said all of those scenarios to say this. Every single one of those scenarios you just heard, every single one, was my personal story. That's right, every single one. I did not make up or exaggerate anything. They were, Rôvi Vrusamâivisic, real scenarios. And the benefit of these things happening to me is that I am now able to advocate and bring awareness to them. I do not believe anything ever happens without a reason. I know there was something behind it more than I could see at the time. But now you understand, it does not make you a bad person to complain. If, like the bedbug incident, I had not complained, I never would have known you can actually sue for that type of negligence. So keep in mind, whenever you're at a hospital, a restaurant, HR, retail, a grocery store, rideshare, whatever it is, you have the right to complain. And they have the right to comply. I am not complaining. I am advocating. And I will not apologize for expecting people to do the job they are expected to do.
Excuse me, can I speak to your manager?
I breathe in, I breathe out. Speaking up is not a flaw or a burden. It's not a disruption. It is a right, a boundary, a form of healing. I am not complaining, I am advocating for my safety, my dignity, my peace, my voice. I am not complaining, I am advocating for every moment I was dismissed, ignored and silenced, made to feel small. But every time I speak, I reclaim what was lost. I do this for the person I used to be, for the person I am right now, and for the person I am still becoming. Every word reclaims a piece of myself. The parts taken, lost, or overlooked. This is my healing. This is my grounding. This is my truth. This is a right truth. I am not complaining, I am advocating for my safety, my dignity, my voice. I am not complaining, I am advocating for every moment and I will not apologize for expecting people to do the job they are expected to do.